Hello happy crocheters, this is Lindsay from windingrowcrochet.com, and today I'm going to show you how to make this cowl that is large enough that it can be used as a hood. If you like this tutorial, make sure to like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. You can also follow me on Instagram and Facebook. So let's go ahead and jump right in. I am using a 5.5 millimeter crochet hook. You are going to need a yarn needle, scissors, and you're going to need 2 skeins of worsted weight yarn. This is Red Heart with Love. I used roughly 500 yards of this yarn, or 9.1 ounces. If you check out the written pattern, you actually have sizes from toddler all the way to 4X. The size I am making today is a medium to large size. And if you want this to turn out the correct size, please make sure to check your gauge. To get started, we are going to make a slip knot and then insert our hook. Now we will make our foundation chain. I am going to chain 119 for the medium to large size cowl. The beautiful thing about this pattern is that you can actually work any number of chain as long as your chain is an odd number. So you can definitely work it for any size, but if you'd like to check out the written pattern, I do have suggestions for how big to make your starting chain for several more sizes. Once you've completed your foundation chain, now we are going to begin single crocheting, starting in the second chain from the hook. I am going to single crochet into the back bumps, but this is optional. If you find this difficult, you can always work into the chain in any way that is most comfortable for you. I like working into the back bumps because I believe it gives me a nicer looking finished edge at the bottom of my project. So all we are going to do is work 1 single crochet into every chain across. You should have a total of 118 stitches at the end of this row, or if you change the chain count, you should simply want to have an even number of stitches at the end of this row. Once we reach the end of our row, we are going to take our row, make sure it's not twisted, go back to the beginning, and slip stitch to the very first single crochet. You may notice that we have an opening at the bottom of our work, and that is okay. We are going to fix that when we weave in our end. Now let's start row 2. We are going to chain 1 and turn our work. We are going to turn our work for every row in this project. We are going to skip our slip stitch. That's our slip stitch. Work into the first real stitch, and we're going to single crochet into the back loop only. So we are going down the center of our stitch, out the back so that we only have 1 loop over our work. So down the center, out the back, 1 loop over our work, yarn over, and complete our single crochet. We will work a single crochet in the back loop only in every stitch all the way across. When we reach the end of row 2, we are simply going to slip stitch to the very first single crochet. Now we will chain 1 and turn, and we're going to repeat row 2 until we have a total of 10 rows. So again, skip that slip stitch, work into the first real stitch, and work a back loop only single crochet in each stitch around. And just repeat this until you have a total of 10 rows, remembering to slip stitch to the first single crochet when you end your row. So here I've completed 10 rows of that ribbed texture that we were creating working in the back loop only. Now we're going to begin a new texture for the center of our cowl. We're going to chain 1 and turn. For our new texture, we are going to work a regular single crochet, and then into the exact same stitch, we are going to also work a double crochet. Then we will skip the next stitch and repeat the process. We're going to work a single crochet first into this stitch, Then we will work a double crochet into the exact same stitch. Skip the next stitch and then work a single crochet and a double crochet again. Continue repeating this all the way around your row. Make sure to remember to skip a stitch after you work the 2 stitches into the same stitch. So here I am working my last repeat. Work a single crochet and a double crochet into the same stitch. I'm going to skip the very last stitch and slip stitch to the very first single crochet. Now we will just chain 1, turn our work, and repeat this row, and you'll continue repeating this row until you have a total of 44 rows. So again, we are going to work into the top of the double crochet. You should always be working into the top of the double crochet. We are going to single crochet and double crochet into the top of this stitch. We will skip the single crochet of the previous row and work into the top of the double crochet. Again, we're working a single crochet and then a double crochet. And we're just going to repeat this all the way around the row. Skip the single crochet of the previous row, single crochet, double crochet into the next stitch. Oops, that was a half double crochet. We are going to double crochet, skip, single crochet, double crochet into the next stitch. Continue repeating this all the way around your row. You will slip stitch to the very first single crochet and then just continue repeating this row again until you have a total of 44 rows. That is including the ribbed rows at the bottom. So this is the beautiful texture we have been creating. I've worked quite a few rows. I have used up all of my first skein. And now I'm just going to show you how to change so that you can use a new skein. So to do that, I'm just going to go into the next stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, go into for my double crochet, yarn over, pull through 2. And now I'm just going to take my new yarn, yarn over, and complete that stitch with the new yarn. There we go. Now I can continue my 44 rows of this texture. So here I am completing row 44, and again, if you're working a different size, I did put in the written instructions how many rows you would work for the other sizes. I'm just going to slip stitch to my first single crochet. Then I'm going to chain 1 and turn my work. And as you can see, this cowl has gotten quite big. Now for these last set of rows, this is our last 10 rows. Our first row we are going to start by working a single crochet into every single stitch all the way around. Just give us a nice base single crochet row to work into. So I'm just working a single crochet into all the stitches, not skipping anything, not creating any more texture, just trying to create a nice smooth row at the top of our work before we start the rows of ribbing. When we reach the end of this row, I'm just going to work my last single crochet and then I will slip stitch to the very first single crochet. Now we will chain 1 and turn. And for this row and the next 9 rows, we're going to do basically the same thing, except for we're going to work our single crochets into the back loop only. So we've chained 1, we're going to push our hook down the center, out the back of our work, to single crochet around that back loop only. And we'll work a single crochet in the back loop only in every stitch around. When you reach the end of this row, we're just going to slip stitch to the very first single crochet. And then we're going to repeat this row until we have a total of 9 single crochet rows of ribbing, just like we have at the beginning of our project. So we will chain 1, turn our work, and then just work a single crochet in the back loop of every stitch around. Slip stitch the very first single crochet and continue repeating that row until you have a total of 10 rows of ribbing. This cowl, the size we are making now, should have a total of 54 rows for the entire project. So here I'm just going to finish up my very last row, still working single crochets in the back loop only. I'm going to slip stitch to the very first single crochet. And now we are done with this part of our project. We're just going to clip our yarn over the hook and pull through that very last loop. And this end we just weave in like usual, like you would normally weave in your end, but I'm going to show you how to weave in the very first end since we have a row to close up. So as you can see, the very bottom of this has just a little opening that we want to go ahead and close up when we weave in our ends. So let me grab my needle. I'm just going to thread my yarn onto my needle. And then when I begin sewing, the first stitch I'm going to be making is into the bottom of the first single crochet of row 1, attaching the first and last single crochet of row 1. Then I'm just going to make a few stitches sewing that together, and then I'll go back to the back of my work and weave in my yarn end. It's important when you're making a project that you're going to be wearing to weave back and forth at least 3 times. This will make it a lot more machine washer safe. And there you have it. You just finished weaving in this end. I'm going to have a total of 4 ends to weave in total, so that's not too many. And this nice super cowl is all complete. So I really hope you enjoyed this video tutorial and you were able to follow along and that you love your new cowl. And as always, thank you for watching. It means so much to me.